Good morning. Welcome to our online event, SmartXPD, Strength, Mobility, Agility, Reaction Technique. Today's program is brought to you by Parkinson's Community, Los Angeles. Today we are so fortunate to have with us Patrick Lasasso. I'm Angela Neff. I serve on the board of PCLA. For those of you who don't know us, we are a nonprofit that supports families living with Parkinson's through free education programs like this one, online and in-person support groups, social events, and much, much more. Today's conversation is brought to you by our generous sponsors, Abbott, Acadia, and Boston Scientific, and by important donations from people just like you in the Parkinson's community. If you appreciate our work, which I'm sure you do, please consider making a donation at PCLA.org. Your donation is 100% tax deductible, so thank you in advance. We rely on your generosity to help us continue this important work. Please join me in welcoming Patrick Lasasso today. As an internationally recognized expert on exercise for Parkinson's, Patrick Lasasso is a trainer, strength and conditioning specialist, and creator of SmartXPD, an exercise brand designed to address the symptoms that can occur with Parkinson's. Combining secretly held methods of the top exercise professionals, Patrick distills these techniques into a fun and effective program that maximizes improvements in health and function. Patrick also serves as president of Parkinson's Community, Los Angeles, our dear PCLA. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angela, for that wonderful introduction. I greatly appreciate it. And I see a lot of familiar names here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. So when I was asked to do this talk here, I was trying to think of what I could do and incorporate. So I put some of the foundational principles together that I think would be valuable for me to leave you with that I've discovered. So I decided I've been working on a concept of roadmaps to living better. So I kind of added that as a theme to what I'll be presenting today. So the title of my presentation today is Roadmap to Living Your Best and Parkinson's Specific Exercise. So we're going to get in here. So this is me, and Angela covered it well enough, so we're just going to move on to our next slide here. I have a quick couple disclaimers. I am, as Angela said, a founding member and serve on the PCLA's board as president. My work for PCLA is as a volunteer advocate, and I receive no funding nor endorsement from PCLA. This presentation is exclusively related to my SmartXPD and my approach to Parkinson's exercise. These slides are going to be available to anyone that is participating today if you request it. And we're going to be doing some movement a little bit later, and all exercise has an inherent risk of injury. Always consult with a physician before beginning any exercise program and participate at your own risk. But we're not going to be jumping off chairs, so we'll keep it relatively meaningful and easy. So this is my brand, and I've been using it for quite some time, and it's an acronym for some of the pillars that I like to include in my approach to exercise. Of course, strength, mobility, agility, reaction, which is a big one. We want to always be practicing our ability to respond to unpredictable visual cues. Technique, the technique of moving. We like to build an arsenal of methods and systems and strategies to move more safely and effectively throughout the day. X is, of course, exercise and Parkinson's disease. So SmartXPD, that's my brand, my approach. So I wanted to outline today's objectives. We're going to review strategies on how you can live better by planning well and making smart choices. So in other words, we're going to be doing some stuff outside of exercise to understand how to best manage your exercise program so that it targets the issues Parkinson's motor symptoms create. And what is the concept of the brain and body connection and how to strengthen it with mindful movement. And this is one I thought a lot about because we hear that kind of catchphrase, brain and body, all over the place, and mindful movement. And so I want to talk a little bit today about what that means to me and how you can apply it to help it practically improve the way you move and think, and develop that understanding. And then one of my favorites, we're going to learn the most important part of your body if you have Parkinson's. Isn't that mysterious and interesting? And I'm going to wait till last, so you got to stick around. I'm kidding. That'll come up relatively quickly. So the roadmap. Here are, over the years, 5 pillars or categories I've identified or noticed that if you name them and identify them and nurture them, they're going to help you be more systematic in your approach to living and help you live better. So number one, the first one I have here is your medical team, making sure that you have the best doctors available for your team and that you're aware of the various disciplines, and this is important, the various disciplines that can help you in the journey. Of course, your movement disorder specialist, neurologist, that's probably the first person who thinks that comes to mind, but we also want to have a really great general practitioner, gastroenterologist, maybe a cardiologist, urologist is an often helpful person to have on your team. Podiatrist, people don't think about the feet that much, but we really need to make sure that our feet are healthy and the ankle is functioning properly. Orthopedist, that might be necessary. An orthodontist, someone who understands Parkinson's and the mouth. A dietitian, speech therapist, physical therapist, and occupational therapist. And all these people are medically credentialed folks. Nutrition, a big one. We want to eat well. And I'm not going to, this is, again, I'm not a dietitian. I'm just naming these things to be aware of. We want to be eating healthy, organic fruits and vegetables. We want to drink plenty of water. That's an important one. Sometimes we avoid drinking water because it makes us have to go number one, right? We don't want to avoid that. Making sure our digestion is regular. We want to watch for constipation and watch for swallowing issues. And if any of those last 3 come up, you want to immediately talk to your doctors about that. Sleep. People often forget about this. This is so important, and it gets its own category of the 5. We want to maintain good sleep hygiene, which is hopefully 7 to 8 hours is what they recommend of sleep. And I've heard both long naps, avoid them, but naps also can help to count if you have a bad day of sleep. There's many tools now available to you to help you sleep better. There are applications that are on your like iPad or phone or tablet that can help you fall asleep with soothing sounds and meditation. These applications can also monitor your sleep and give you a sleep grade and can tell when you're sleeping deep and when you're up awake. Setting your sleeping area up for comfort. Take a look at your bedroom and make sure it's inviting and it's a place that welcomes you to sleep. And talk to your doctor if you're having poor sleep hygiene. They can give you some ideas on how to improve it. Okay, number 4. This is the one that has been overlooked and because of COVID has come into stark contrast. Our mental health and socialization. Humans need each other. Maintain your social network and have a mental health professional to speak with you if you're feeling down. Maintain your support system, your friends and your family. Don't isolate. Socialize through maybe exercise classes. It's a great way to meet new people. And there's a lot available online as well, book clubs, etc. Work with a mental health professional who understands the non-motor symptoms that can accompany PD. I know that a diagnosis of PD is tough enough without a non-motor symptom of depression. So find someone to talk to if you're feeling blue and get proactive with that. And now here, what we're talking about, this is my wheelhouse, exercise. Maintain an appropriate and diverse exercise program. So we're going to dig in to this part of the presentation now. I want to address a couple questions, believe it or not, that I get a lot. Does exercise cure Parkinson's? And I know our PCLA community is pretty smart, but whenever I talk, I always mention this. There's currently no cure for Parkinson's, but research now demonstrates that exercise has now been shown to slow the progression of the disease. And I've got a really exciting study that came out very recently, and I'm going to talk about that next, And please be aware of false claims of a Parkinson's cure online and on social media. I personally see this because of, my profile online. I see this all the time. I get comments posted to my videos, and I immediately shut them down. Just, it's out there. Be careful. Make sure your information is coming from a trusted Parkinson's resource. Certainly, I like to know and advocate PCLA being one of the most careful organizations out there in terms of the programming and the information we provide. Now, the great news is now, well, maybe it's great news for some of you, but some of you who aren't exercising, maybe it's not so great news, but exercise has been proven to help. And here's the study. This is just really recent and it's exciting. In February of 2024, Yale School of Medicine released results of a proof of concept study that demonstrated that high intensity exercise induces brain protective effects that have the potential not just to slow down, but possibly reverse the neurodegeneration associated with Parkinson's disease. There were 10 participants, which is a small sampling, but the way they reviewed it is really encouraging. They completed a 6-month high-intensity exercise program. These classes were designed to keep participants' heart levels, their heart rates elevated for the majority of the workout, and I believe it was a 30-minute workout. The study concluded that high-intensity interval exercise reverses neurodegeneration. Following the 6-month program, brain imaging showed significant increase in both the neuromelanin and DAT signals in the substantia nigra. This suggests that high-intensity exercise not only slowed down the neurodegenerative process, but also helped dopaminergic system grow healthier. What's happening here? Okay, so I'm going to go over this. This top one was sort of covered in my last presentation, but the American College of Sports Medicine, which is the ultimate authority on exercise used by all professional trainers and physical therapists, and in conjunction with the Parkinson's Foundation, developed a prescription for exercise for people with Parkinson's of 150 minutes of exercise per week, just about 30 minutes, 5 days a week. Now, don't get scared here because I have some better information coming. More is better, but this seems to be the sweet spot, and they recommend a target heart rate of 70% for your maximum heart rate. Now, this is from the Parkinson's Foundation website, and I like it. There is no exercise prescription that is right for every person with Parkinson's. So the above really speaks to the baseline of someone that maybe doesn't have too many physical issues going on. But the type of exercise you do depends on your symptoms and challenges. For sedentary people, just moving and getting up is beneficial and will probably create an adaptable change to improve your state. More active people can build up to regular, vigorous activity. Many approaches work well to help maintain and improve mobility, flexibility, and balance to ease motor Parkinson's symptoms, such as depression and constipation. So there are other things that it helps with as well. And I can just report that I work with people of all different levels, and regardless of their level, a little bit of work goes a long way. And when you see the change, and it will happen no matter what condition you're dealing with right now, whether you're in a wheelchair or you're walking or struggling to walk, you can see things improve. Studies now validate the following modes of exercise are proven to help. So I'm going to go over this. When you think about exercise, these are the types of exercise. First of all, obviously the two big ones, strength training and aerobic exercise. And it improves all of these things: balance, strength, alleviates motor symptoms, dynamic balance, speed. So important to work on in an exercise program. Your quality of life, it helps with depression, helps with function. I could do a whole program on function and what that is and how to improve it. But strength training and aerobic exercise will just address that. It reduces falls. It can improve gait. It improves obviously your cardiovascular fitness, your health strength, your balance. It's mentioned twice. That's my mistake. And is protective against depression and improves non-motor symptoms of well, in particular the aerobic exercise for the non-motor. So strength training, some examples: weights, resistance bands, weight machines, body weight. TRX is a a body weight system that you may have heard of. It's very popular now. Boxing, biking, walking, rowing, swimming, and dancing are another examples of great aerobic exercise. Flexibility training, it can improve posture, so important. I'm going to be talking about this in a bit. Spinal flexibility, physical performance, balance, mobility, neck tone. Some examples of that are, excuse me, yoga, dance, slow static stretching, like in a stretching class, and then active stretching where you're moving and stretching dynamically. Balance training, really important. And this is really kind of encouraging, and I love encouraging notes. The last bullet message here, balance exercises at home are as good as in-gym exercise. You can do some simple things in the home to improve your posture, your speed of gait, your activities of daily living, you know, how we move, the things we do. And it also prevents falls, Tai Chi, walking, yoga, dance, single leg balance. That's what most people think of when we think of balance, but there's so much more to it. Dynamic single leg balance. Did you know that walking is a series of single leg balance moments in flow? And I think that's really, it's kind of cool to think about and encouraging. Skill-based and agility exercises. And skill-based is one of my favorites, but because it speaks to what I'm going to be talking about later, the brain-body connection. But skill-based exercises, they improve coordination, balance, gait, cognition, functional independence, quality of life, mobility, and motor ability. Skill-based training, some examples of that are ping pong. Love ping pong. You don't know where the ball is going to go. You got to react. Boxing, same thing. Dancing, Tai Chi would be another skill-based because you're directing movement. And multi-directional stepping, that sort of stuff is really great for agility. And the last one here, incorporating, even if you don't have a gym membership, if you think about the activities you do, you can put them during the day, you can put them into workouts. And this can help you improve your quality of life, your balance, your confidence, your gait, your mobility, your independence. And as I'm reading through this, I know that trying to put this together for yourself might be difficult. So I encourage you to maybe work with a professional that knows Parkinson's or knows movement. It can help you look at your activities of daily living and put them into a little routine for you. Sit to stand, walking, step ups or stair climbing, both up and down, agility cones, agility ladder. Those are some examples that incorporate activities that we do throughout their day in an exercise manner. So these are some of the, and not all of these, but some of the exercise components your program should include. And we talked about some of them just now, so I'm just going to go quickly through them. Your cardiovascular fitness, your strength and flexibility, your balance, your coordination and agility. That's like the skill-based exercises there. Your posture. I talk about posture. We're going to be talking about it later. So important to be aware of. And of course, large amplitude movements. We want to fight back. Parkinson's can try to make you move slow and small. We're not going to have it. We're going to move big. And of course, a fun one, hand-eye coordination. There are tons of ways to do that in a fun way. So let's take an analytical look at what Parkinson's can do to the body. It helps us identify specific structures or areas that we should focus on. This provides us with objectives or an exercise roadmap of what we should address to improve function and manage the motor symptoms. So these are the targets, the common targets that you should be aware of that you need to be addressing. First, the chest, of course. Parkinson's can make things in the front of the body tight and closed off, and in the back of the body weak. So we want to flex that chest. We want to work on neck flexibility as well. Shoulders, believe it or not, we don't think really about shoulders. We think of our hands, and our shoulders are directing the arms. Our shoulders are probably the most complex joint of our body. They have 4 articulations. We got to work on the shoulders, and we're going to do that today. The front of hips, and this applies to all populations. Many of this is because of the way we live as a society. We spend so much time sitting. in very comfortable chairs sometimes, but that can cause tightness in the front of the hips, and Parkinson's can make that worse. The back of the lower leg, the calf. Now, I left this last, is maybe one of the most important ones. People don't think about it. Parkinson's and shuffling of gait can occur. So we want to mitigate anything that might restrict our ability to lift our toes. So I could do a whole program on walking, and maybe I'll come back and do that sometime. I'm so excited about it, but certainly the calf is something we really want to stretch, and it's an easy stretch to do. Now, strength targets. Where do we want to get stronger? The core. Let's just start with that, the core. The muscles that are involved with breathing, so important. We want to train the bodies the muscles of the body that expand the rib cage to help us breathe, that stabilize the spine. Here's another important one. We're going to be talking about this shortly, the upper back. And I'm going to get into this, but let's just say that I'm going to mention it. Parkinson's affects areas of our body that are counterintuitive. They're tough to access. The upper back is one of them and is vitally important, and we're going to work on it today. Of course, strength for the shoulders, the hips, and the front of the shin, getting back to the lifting of the toes. And if you're sitting there and you want to do something while I'm talking, lift your toes up and down. Get them up and down as high as you can. Give me 20 of them. I wasn't planning on doing that, but let's start some work. Lift the toes up with the heels on the ground, up and down. All right. So here we go. Parkinson's can challenge important parts of the body that are difficult to feel, access, control, or perceive. And to explain that concept, I'm going to give you the prime examples, and you'll go, oh, yeah, I get that. The internal structures, like the spine. How do you feel the spine, right? It's hard, but you can. It takes work, but we got to go after that with Parkinson's. Our posterior structures, the shoulders, so important. There's so much movement in the shoulders, and it's so important to maintain a healthy open chest and strong and supple shoulders. Foot placement, I put that in there because of when you think of the Parkinson's posture, it can draw your feet together. I never do that with people. Keep your feet apart. They may do that in physical therapy for a balance test, but make sure when you're doing exercises, you could put a soccer ball between your feet. That's what I usually say. Keep your feet apart. Train for a wide base of support. Now, the good news is you can gain better awareness through practice and mindful exercise. An exercise session is a great opportunity to build health and fitness, but it's also a great opportunity to improve the brain and body connection by moving mindfully. We're not just mindlessly going from point A to point B. We're thinking about it, we're directing it, we're experiencing it. So here we go. What is moving mindfully? So this is a phrase I've came up with over the years, and I'm going to speak more in depth about it, but moving with understanding, specificity, and intent. That's for us, moving mindfully or mindfulness. Now that term mindfulness goes across many different modalities or disciplines. Talk about meditation mindfulness as an example. What is moving mindfully? Well, with Parkinson's, we have to think about our movement. The things that we used to do automatically need to be directed now and thought about and practiced. The example of mindful moving that I like, that I came up with like now 2 years ago, and I wish I had come up with it 15 years ago. Imagine you went out and you bought a brand new pair of hiking shoes. Now, this might be possible for everyone, but just in your mind's eye, go ahead and go on this journey with me. And you decide to take a hike through the forest, and it's a beautiful day. The trees are out there, it's warm, the sun is shining, and you come across the river. And you got across the river, and you just got these new shoes, and you're thinking, oh man, I don't want to get my new shoes wet. And you notice that there are stones that lead across the river that if you figure out, you could probably step on one that leads to another and cross this river without getting your shoes wet. So you step up to the edge and you see the first stone and you analyze it. It looks good, but where can I go after that? Oh, there's a stone over there, but that one looks like it might be slippery, but there's one in reach. You're plotting your movement across the river. That's an example of moving mindfully. So my search for the best protocols for Parkinson's exercise heightened auspiciously in 2006. I was doing a Parkinson's educational event in Pasadena. And when I was finished, I came down and this woman came up to me and she said, "Patrick, that was the most enthralling presentation I've ever seen." Well, sadly, no, she did not say that. But what she did say was, she said, "Patrick, I have Parkinson's. What is the most important part of my body?" And I didn't have an answer for it. I'd never heard that question. I thought, that's a curious question. What do you think? You think the brain? What do you think? Your hands? So I started thinking and I began my search to find out what was the most important part of the body. What part of the body, once identified, would help a person with Parkinson's live and move better? What makes improving the Parkinson's posture so difficult? Well, okay, what do we know? We know muscle tightness and weakness can affect the spine. The thoracic segment of our spine, which is the one highlighted here, of our spine is integral to functional movement. It's so important, and oftentimes it becomes rounded with Parkinson's. So I began to think, maybe I'm onto something. So I finally arrived at what could be reasonably argued is the most important part of the body for a person living with Parkinson's. And this is my take. You're not going to find this really anywhere else. But going forward, I refer to this part of the body as ground zero. That's the area on the back between the shoulder blades with the blades pulled together and down is ground zero. And I just discovered recently there's a name for it. Acnestis is the name. I bet many of us haven't heard of it. I sure haven't heard of that. Why is that so important? Let's take a look and have some fun. Okay, everybody. So I'm out of town. I'm in New York. So I'm in my hotel room, and rather than reschedule, we decided we would do it from here remotely. So we're going to go over ground zero. And I know a lot of folks here have been with me before and know this, but we're going to go over it because I believe it to be so important. Let me push back. And then we're going to do some exercise and some movement. Wait a minute. Okay, so I can get myself adjusted. All right, let me just tilt this down a little bit. So, ground zero. Parkinson's, as I said earlier, can affect parts of our body that just aren't intuitive. You know what's intuitive? A bicep curl. Oh, I can do a bicep curl. That's easy. Okay, extend your spine. What? I can't see that. Pull your shoulder blades together. Retract them. Protract your shoulders. I don't know. So, we're going to dig down into some of these areas that really affect and can help you access these important structures and ground zero. And I'm going to tell you why I believe ground zero to be the most important part of your body. So we're going to go into a stretch called the no money stretch. And I defy you to come up with a stretch that is better named than no money. I haven't found it, but I'd love to hear it. But this stretch here is one of the most important ones for Parkinson's. What I want you to do, first of all, is get yourself to the edge of the chair. And I want you to take a couple deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. I'm going to have you bring your palms up, and we're going to do what is called external rotation of the upper arm here. Turning that arm out and in. As far back as you can. A common mistake is to bring your arms out to the side. Don't do that. We're going to externally rotate. What also might be helpful is seek to experience the feeling of the fabric of the shirt as it crosses your back. We're trying to take our shoulder blades and pull them together and down. And let's pull them and hold them there. We'll take a big breath and lower the hands to the tops of the knees. And if you can retain that anchor or that awareness between the shoulder blades, just gently turn and glance around your room. The reason I like ground zero and building that awareness of it is because it keeps us up here and it defies the tendency of Parkinson's to draw us down and forward, right? We know that happens. Ground zero, through practice and movement, through movement, engaging it and pulling it back, into it. Accessing that keeps us up here and helps us fight back smartly. We're going to do a quick demonstration. This is also maintaining, this has to do with posture. I'm not going to get into posture today, but I'm going to demonstrate why it's so important. I talked earlier about the way we live as a society, the tight hips. We drive, right? We're at the keyboard. We put those shoulders in a protracted position often. And it's it's a good functional position for punching, but it reduces our ability to intake oxygen. And we're going to demonstrate this. If you'll do this with me, if you'll just take your hands out and pretend you're sitting at your desk, typing on your keyboard. And so you can see the shoulders are pushed forward a little bit. We're going to exaggerate that for the sake of example here. And we're going to turn our thumbs down. All right, so now we've got a real protracted shoulder there. We're going to take a big breath in, blow all the air out of your lungs, and take a big breath in through your nose. Let's do that again. Big breath out, blow it out, and then big breath in through your nose. Okay, now let's turn the palms up. Pull the elbows back. Externally rotate the shoulders. Pulse, access ground zero, blow all the air out, and then take a big breath of air in through your nose. Goes on forever almost, right? From here, oh, nothing. From here, all the way out and exhale. So good. So we're gonna do, this is so important. Before I lead this, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I want to do a little drill I came up with that helps us get a better, stronger understanding of ground zero, that area between your shoulder blades, when your shoulder blades are together and down. Don't get discouraged. I know it can be frustrating trying to seek out these, being able to perceive these places, these arrangements, these configurations, but I'm going to help it right now. We're going to take our hands, we're going to open them up, and I want you to open them up nice and wide so you feel that springiness in there, and you're going to turn your thumbs down, and now you're going to pull your arms back like a superhero, and you're going to puff your chest up. Forward, thumbs down, pull back. You can even move forward from the waist a little bit, pulling down and puffing that chest up, squeezing the shoulder blades together and down. Clench, contract, make it active here. Forward and back. I'll do this from the side, forward and back. Can't really do it very well from the side, but that's the move. For all of these three moves, get to here, forward to here. Let's take our arms, bring them out to the side, turn the thumbs down, and pull and puff the chest up. Sit up straight, thumbs down, pull, and this is not passive. You should be working here. Turn them over, pull them back, puff that chest up. We're trying to get right back to here. And draw your attention to the shoulder blades as we do this every so often. Let's pull it and hold it. Let's reach up overhead. Pain-free range of motion for all of this. If you have a shoulder impingement, maybe just do one arm. And what I like to say is, if you see this, that's not evidence of a shoulder injury. That's evidence of a courageous heart that is doing the work despite the injury. That's courage right there. Grit. Forward and back. One more, forward or upward overhead and back. Let's combine them. Forward and back. Out to the side, thumbs down. Back, up overhead, thumbs forward. Back and forward. Pull, contract, squeeze. Now you're beginning to feel those muscles in the back. Maybe they're getting a little tired, but you can identify them. There aren't a lot of nerve endings back there, apparently. It's hard to refer to that area. But now we're heating it up. I'm getting it. You feel the upper back. We talked about it earlier. Muscles, we need to strengthen that middle of that upper back right there. Let's do one more all the way through and we'll pause. Forward here, out, and up, and pull. Stay with me here. Puff that chest up, pulse. See if you can get to there between the shoulder blades, that ground zero. Big breath in through the nose as you exhale. Lower your hands to the tops of your knees. See if you can retain that awareness of that place. Relax the shoulders and just turn around your room. referencing it through the day. Go to ground zero because it fixes 100 things up here. Maybe not 100, but like 80. A lot. It fixes a lot up here just by that one move, that one shoulder blade together and down. And you can see it, you can feel it. Hopefully now you have a little better understanding of that. Most important for me, the most important part of your body is that. And the other reason it's important is because it's not easy. The bicep curl, I get that, that's easy. Getting that awareness and those shoulder blades takes work, takes practice, it takes thought. Like I said, an exercise class is an exercise session is a great opportunity to help build that awareness. And that, when I work one-on-one with someone or in classes, day one is when I talk about ground zero. I'm just going to check my time here, see how I'm doing. Oh, we got good time. Okay. Let's do a little movement here, and then I want to open it up for questions. Okay, so we talk about incorporating ground zero into our work. Another important thing is to do work that incorporates components of activities of daily living, like walking. So we're going to do a little drill here that gets our heart rate up a little bit and helps us move and helps us implement or incorporate what is called a reciprocal movement. In fact, if you want to, you can just do a little chair march with me to get us going. And if you're doing a proper chair march, as you kind of glance forward and down, you'll see the opposing hand and knee coming into your field of vision. That is the reciprocal nature of gait. Remember when they laid you down and said, Billy, we're going to learn how to walk? No, you don't, because it didn't happen like that. Parkinson's can make things we learn to do difficult that we weren't taught, like getting out of a chair, like getting into a chair, like putting on a jacket, like rolling over in bed, like walking. The good news is we can improve them, we can break them down. Hands on the tops of the knees. We're going to start with the same side move. We're going to sweep this arm up. Let's start with just this side. To the side, open the hand up. And a little added bonus is I want you to flex that ankle and experience the edge of the heel tapping the floor. A great cue to reduce shuffling of gait is to lead with the edge of your heel. That's what you should feel. One more here. Let's go out to the other side now. And we're going to be staying in the chair today. We have all different levels. And even for the very athletic, there's value in this drill for you here. So experience the nuance and try to get the directed movement. That hand, as I sweep it up, is opened up as big as it can, and I'm reaching across and back, feeling a stretch on that chest. Oh yeah, we talked about the chest. You know, you're doing a chest stretch there. Yes. Let's go ahead and alternate out here and out there. Another little nuance aside from the edge of the heel. When you bring your foot back, bring it back to a wide base. Now we're training our feet. We're incorporating that principle to it. You can imagine maybe a soccer ball is between your feet. You don't want to kick it. Keep it out. Breathe. Very good. Couple more, and then we're going to do both sides together. What? Yeah. We're going to train the core as well. Oh, the core. We talked about that earlier for breathing. Yes. Big breath in. Keep moving. So we're going to go right side, left side now together. Up. Right. Left. Together. Right. Left. Together. One more. Right. Feel the heel. Left. Together. And rest. Hands on the hips. We're going to continue, but before we do, let's stir. Move around from the hips. I want everyone to take a big breath in through the nose. So you can't take any more in. And let it out. And reverse. So that was a same side. Very easy for the brain to execute. We're going to step it up a notch. We're going to use our right hand, but our left leg. And the same thing on the other side. I want to get to your questions and maybe any requests that you might have. So we're going to kind of move through this rather quickly. So let's treat this in the same way we did the same side. We'll alternate and we'll do together. So we're going to go right arm, left leg, reverse, together, again, together, open the hands up, lean, reach, together. One more. Together, back down, big breath in, and exhale. I'm checking time here because I want to have at least 15. Okay, last little bit here. We're going to use our voice and our move, and we're going to do a series. We're going to combine both of these. It's going to be one side, right side, left side, together, and then we're going to go to the reciprocal. Out, so it's going to be 6 moves. Out, together. Let's let it flow. I'll take it slow. Even though we're going slow, there should be effort in size. Big movement. I like to use the visualization. Imagine, remember, Glenda, the good witch, arrived in the Wizard of Oz in that bubble, or the bubble has been taken over by the evil witch of the West. And that evil witch has put that bubble around us, and that bubble is attempting to make us move small, move slow, but that bubble has picked a fight with the wrong human today, because together we're going to burst that bubble open. Here we go. 1, 2, together. Come on. 4, 5, 6. Burst the bubble and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down to 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Vowels. A, E, I, O, U, Y. Last one. Months of the year. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and back. Big breath in. I was going to make you do that with the months in reverse, but we're all out of time for that. And I know everybody's going, oh, thank you. That would be ridiculous. That's impossible. It's not impossible. It's just annoying. All right. I'm going to come in here and see if we have questions and requests. Thank you again, PCLA, for having me.
Thank
I
you,
enjoyed it.
Patrick. It was wonderful. We're going to move, everyone, we're moving into questions now. So I will ask a question that I'm part of the body that you mentioned that I rarely hear people mention that I think is really important, which is the hips.
Yes.
So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So yeah, hips is on the list for sure. And that's actually for all populations. And I will tell you that in my experience, a lot of low back pain. Okay, Jose, we'll come to you in a moment. A lot of back pain can originate in actually the front of the hip. It's really an area that is prone to tightness just because the way we operate as a society encourages tight hips. We spend a lot of time sitting, right? And for Parkinson's, anything that is tight and can draw you forward is bad. So certainly stretching the front of the hip. And I'll just show you a quick stretch for that. I'll back up here. Let me put myself in speaker view. It's hard. It's not all that easy to do a hip stretch in a chair, but the front of the hip can be, it's really good. The bed is a great opportunity to do it. And, but basically this is the stretch for this side of the hip here. You reach it back and you can add the arm, switching it over. But if you're going to want to stretch the hip, target the front of the hip. And then, of course, strength. The hip is on that slide too. Sit to stands are great for hip strength. And the hip is a critical joint to avoid falls as well. So like if you're having fall issues, they're going to probably start on your hips immediately and getting your extension and flexion and abduction out to the side and adduction stronger. Does that answer, Angela?
That's very helpful. Thank you. And Jose, you wanted to mention talk to Patrick. Would you like to unmute yourself and ask a question?
Yes, I work an hour. I work in the mornings, but I have the tendency to lean my body frontwise, and I don't know if it's an exercise because I get tired. I don't get tired from my legs, but I get tired to keeping my body straight up.
Oh, Jose, I'm excited about that question. I got the exact same question. I talk about posture a lot in my classes. And one of my students, she has Parkinson's, said, Patrick, I'm working on my posture and I can work on my posture while I'm standing, but as soon as I start walking, I start to lean forward and I bend down. And I don't know if it's because I have back pain, but it doesn't seem to be the reason. It doesn't eliminate any back pain. So I said, okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you 2 things to think about and a third if you have the bandwidth. Number 1 is I want you to bring your sight line up. Our sight line is a huge cue for better movement. And where we look, where we choose to look. If we don't choose to look, guess what? We're coming down. No, we want to bring our sight line up. I said, the next thing I want you to do is I want you to, as I talked before, lead your stride with the edge of your heel. I said, okay, so as you step, the first thing you should feel as you go forward is the edge of the heel. Practice that. And I said, the third thing, if you have the bandwidth, get your arms swinging a little bit more. Those are the 3 things. So she came back to me, and I'm not kidding about this, the next class, which was 2 days later, and she said, hey, Patrick, it fixed it. I'm like, oh, well, good. And she says, and I came up with a saying to help me remember the cues. And I said, okay, what's that? She said, raise the gaze, feel the heel, and swing the wing. I mean, is that great or what? It's easy to remember. It gives you the cue. Raise the gaze, feel the heel, swing the wing. The wing is your arms for all of you that didn't get that. Swing the wing, raise the gaze, feel the heel, swing the wing. And so now I literally use that with all of my clients, and I talk about Bonnie and how she came up with it, and way more clever than anything I could have done. So I hope that helps, Jose.
Yes, thank you very much.
Welcome. So I have a question from Steve. Why does my body hurt after any exercise? Walking, mowing the lawn, gardening, stretching, boxing, etc. So that is not uncommon with Parkinson's. The first thing that comes to mind is hydration and a meal. After you do your workout, have a meal and make sure you're drinking enough water and getting enough hydration. You might also talk to your doctor about potassium. Might be something that you could add either in a supplement or eat some bananas that might help. But one of the things, hydration is so important. I actually tried with my first client ever because he hated drinking water because it made him pee. But you know, he was stubborn, and he also said he didn't like the taste of water. So what I did was I got like a smart water or electrolyte water, and I mixed it with Pedialyte, half and half, and he would drink that, and that would give him a little hydration. If you try that, I don't think it will be an overnight fix, but it might feel better if you're more regular with your hydration. And the other thing about it is when I work with someone with Parkinson's, I'm not the hardest trainer in the world. I progress slowly and carefully because someone with Parkinson's, everybody responds to exercise differently. It's stress on the body. You are, after exercise, in a state of depletion. So you're going to potentially, not for everybody, but potentially require a little more recovery time. So let's see, walking, mowing the lawn, gardening. So stretching, those are pretty intense activities. I'm not surprised you're feeling sore after that. You might want to try, doing some strength training. Based on what you're describing, I don't know how agile you are getting down to the ground. If you're gardening, you might want to have like something that you can help you get up and down with, like a walker or a chair. Mowing the lawn. These are great activities. I would do You know what else I'd do? I'd stretch after your activities. Spend 5 or 10 minutes stretching your body. See if that helps, Steve.
What are the good exercises to do to roll over in bed?
Yeah, I saw that one. That's a tough one, and I'm trying to figure out. So, okay, right off the bat, let me just say that there are accessories that you can attach to the bed to help with that. I know that is a very common one. Hip bridges, and let me see, I'm going to go on the ground and I'm going to show you some things to do here. Hip bridges would be a good exercise, straining the hips, and also rotation of your core, right? You want to be able to reach over. I have a routine that I don't think I have time for called 5 scoops of ice cream, but we want to work on that ability to turn and maybe reach for something or get our body over. I'm going to tilt this down. I'm going to go down to the floor and I'm going to go to my back and I'm going to show you how I get up, or how I instruct to get up from the floor, and maybe it'll help. You're going to use your opposite leg from the direction you're trying to roll in your opposite arm. And plan on doing this. So let me see if I'm in frame here. Let's see. Okay, I think you guys can see me, right?
Yeah, you full view.
Okay, so I'm on my back and I want to turn this way. I want to roll this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up this leg. That's the opposite. I'm going to take this arm. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to take this arm. I'm going to put it overhead so it's out of the way. And I'm going to push and reach. So this arm is up out of the way. It might not be, you might not be able to do that either because of shoulder flexibility. You might have a headboard, in which case you can just kind of try to keep it out of the equation. Up, press, and roll. Then you're going to maybe get your leg over the side of the bed. At that point, maybe the weight of the leg will help you kind of come on up and get up. So as you can see, the hip bridge, which is this, is going to help with that. So you can even do single leg hip bridges, but like what first occurs to me in terms of strengthening that extension of that hip would probably be a target area for you.
Would a side plank also be a good exercise for that?
Side planks are tough. Are you talking about this one here?
Yeah, but you can keep your lower leg on the ground.
Yeah, side plank would be good because that's working the core, and also any type of rotational movement, side to side, rolling over, might be a helpful one. That's what comes to mind immediately. I probably should spend some more time researching that and thinking about that, because rolling over in bed, I talk about that. That's the instructions I give, is that's how you do it. There might be a better way to do it.
We have time for one more question. Would someone like to unmute themselves and ask a question? You're welcome to.
The question is getting in and out of bed. Are there some good exercises for that, for getting in and out of bed or in and out of a chair?
So yes, and let me just give a self-plug here. I have a YouTube channel that has how to sit in a chair video. It's called GPS, Get There Position Sit, and how to get out of a chair, the and up technique, which I use. I guess I don't know that we have enough time for this, because I think I have to get
enough time to get deep into that, but that's a great direction.
So sit to stand, and making sure before you try either of them, you're well positioned to execute it, because that's a place where you can fall, and you hear about people falling off trying to get out.
Tell me the address of your site so I can type it in the chat for them.
My website is just type in SmartXPD, no space.com. And if you go to YouTube, just search SmartXPD, and my channel will come up and you can subscribe. And there's a bunch of videos on stuff there. I've got almost 20,000 subscribers and probably 700 videos. So there's a bunch of stuff that I tried to make the titles like you could search that and it would come up. So
Can you repeat your site again, please? Smart what?
Smart, SMART, X is an exercise, PD. And I've got a closing slide here that I can bring up if you want me, if we got time for the closing.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was an incredible event. Thank you so much.
Just
Thank you.
remember, the science now proves it. Do some sort of exercise. All these things are addressed. Best form of exercise, what you enjoy, do something. And incorporate the principles we discussed, include some outdoor activities. And for me, here's me. I've got, I'm offering free Zoom classes right now. Contact me if you want to join them. Obviously, I'm out of town right now, but the YouTube channel, SmartXPD, I get my website. I have a line of exercise DVDs available on Amazon. I also have an on-demand platform that has everything I've ever done, DVD-wise, plus exclusive contents there. Thank you again. It's been a blast. Thank you to PCLA for having me, and I'm just going to hand this over to them.
Thank you. Today's event was made possible by our sponsors, Abbott, Acadia, and Boston Scientific. We have some wonderful events coming up, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But if you enjoyed today's program, please visit PCLA.org and make your donation today. By donating to PCLA, you can join us in our mission to improve the lives of families in our community living with Parkinson's. You can find our contact information on the bottom of this screen. PCLA is a nonprofit and all donations are tax deductible. Our upcoming events are really great. Join us on Friday, July 12th for Dr. Yvette Bordelon. She will be sharing her expertise on atypical Parkinsonisms. Links to register for this event, as well as all updates for all of our programs, will be sent out to our email list, or you can visit PCLA.org. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.